Hey everyone, this is Gary, and welcome to this week's live Path to Prosperity weekly webinar. Let me first send you my opening message just to make sure everybody is okay on the audio and video. So, can you see my screen? Oops, and hear my voice. So, if you can get back to me on that, guys, I appreciate it. I'm gonna check the attendee list here real quick. So, hey Julie, how you doing? I'm glad we got able to swap messages the other day. Robert, Shannon, hey guys, Victoria, Will, let's see, Adrian, good to see you. Cameo, Cedric, Chris, Floyd, good to see you, buddy. Let's see, Jim, Joe, Joseph, Julie, Michael, lots of folks here. Okay, so listen to this. Tonight, what we're going to talk about is the rental business. What I'm going to do is just go into the very beginning basic part. And the reason we're doing this is it's been such a hot subject lately. You know, I'm a big proponent of. I didn't used to be. When I first started years ago, I didn't want anything to do with property management because I had my own properties, and self-managing is kind of a pain. But that's how this whole thing started. Eventually, did get property manager. I actually built my own team, then offered that to my clients. So I'm going to give you tonight just the first part, which is how do you actually know where you want to manage properties. It's not just about where you want to own them, it's also about where you want to manage them. Because some of you may decide to do this like I did, and it turned into a pretty big business, okay? So that's first part tonight. The second part is, how do you actually market to attract, to people, clients for management, and also tenants, that type of things. We're getting into that. And I'll probably cap it off at around 50 minutes because that's about the magic stopping point for that subject. And then we can do more next week, the week after. I'm going to do a session just on social media. We talked about that about 3 weeks ago, but there's too many things that are already scheduled. So what we'll do is we'll probably do that one in June. We also have a special guest in June. Can't remember the exact date. I think it's the 11th of June. He's going to talk about trust. So you definitely want to be part of that. But in any case, if you could all let me know if you can see me and my screen and hear my voice, that would be awesome. And I'm going to open up your question box. Everybody says they're doing okay. Okay, so you can hear me and see me. That's great news. Thank you very much, everybody. For everybody watching live, still make sure you get the recording the next day from Beverly because there's always updates in there. And one of those updates is this. Guess what? We're leaving the GoToWebinar platform. I probably shouldn't say that too loudly, like with a happy face, but we're going to the Zoom platform starting in June. And it's just, we've had GoToWebinar for years. I mean, probably close to a decade. And it's always been great, but there's been changes they're making that sometimes not even announced. That's just the craziest thing. And there's been some shortfalls technologically that have caused us some problems. So we switched platforms, and you'll get the information from Beverly. You'll still get a way to register, just like you do with GoToWebinar, but it's on Zoom. Some minor differences, but I think it's a better platform, and it pretty much has become more of an industry standard. So look for that update from Beverly. Every week get the updates from Beverly, whether you're live on this or watching it in recording mode, because you'll get updates and upgrades to the systems and platforms, scheduling updates, scheduling changes, things like that. For all the new folks, you probably recognize you're in mute mode by default. That's of course because we can't all be live audio at the same time. So if you could please, when you have questions, use the question box. That will be awesome. From time to time, I will unmute you, and we can be live, having a live conversation. But for the most part, use the question box to type in your questions. So I think that's it. The only thing I think I need to tell you is this: in the month of July, one of my cousins and I, she's doing pretty well too, and we're getting together to put on a family reunion for our two families, her dad and my mother. Kind of a big deal. Be 20, 30 people, and so during that week I might not have a webinar. I'll keep you posted on that. I'll let you know the schedule. It always will go out at least the month prior. So if it's July, you'll hear about it in June. So I'll keep you posted on that. We try to do these 48 times a year. which means I might take off 4 weeks in the year where I'm not doing a webinar. Sometimes we do 50, but 48 is kind of our internal commitment for you guys. So in any case, hope you all got some wonderful summer plans too. I know some of you have been telling me what your plans are. And Shannon, good call the other day too. So I'm jealous of where you're going, Shannon. Sounds like a pretty good trip. So in any case, let's go ahead and get started here, guys. First things first. All right, we're going to talk about property management tonight. Okay, from the perspective of how do you actually know where you want to manage? Because maybe you don't have any of your own properties yet. Okay, some of the principles are the same, but I'm going to show you how we actually apply this. Okay. Now, if you notice on my screen, I've got one of the planning commissions up here. It's one of the ones I use when I teach class. What I'm not showing you is the school report. And the reason for that is the rental business, you'll find out that you'll have personally more profit, more success long-term by having multi-unit properties with 1 and 2 bedroom units. And at that unit level, 1 and 2 bedroom units, most people don't have school-age children. Just demographically, that's what happens. So they're not really interested in too much in what the school area is. They're more interested in, quite frankly, you know, how close are they, the proximity-wise, to shopping, restaurants, just all the activities that we engage in. Okay, transportation, things like that. So the only time school report comes into play when it comes to rental properties is if you're renting out single-family homes, because people who rent single-family homes are just as concerned as you and I are about where their children go to school. So in that case, we would use school report. Okay, and start off with school report. I'm just going to kind of short circuit it tonight to get right to the meat and potatoes. So everybody knows school report. You know how that works. You use it the same way when you're renting single family homes as you do when you're flipping those homes or working with owner occupants. Okay, everybody with me so far? So far, so good. So if you have any questions, guys, I mean, just please type them in. Obviously, we want to know if you have questions on the content. So back to this. So the next step in the process is using public data, demographic data, social graphic data, even psychographic data on the communities where we're either looking to buy rentals ourselves, or in this case, looking to manage rentals, whether they're our own or for other people, particularly clients, okay, clients of ours. The reason is you might find yourself, your business growing like mine did, and you'll find yourself looking to manage properties in areas that you don't own properties in, which means you better become familiar with those areas and determine if you want to take on those contracts and those clients. So here's how we do this. We use the same planning commission website. And remember, guys, when it comes to planning commissions, no two websites look alike. I mean, they all look differently. You know, a lot of you are in California right now, and you'll see, you know, LA County Planning Commission website looks different than Orange County, looks different than San Bernardino County, Riverside County, Ventura County. They all look different, okay? So I wish I could tell you one size fits all, but it's just not the case. They all look different. So you have to drill down to the neighborhood level, okay? So let's just look at an example. It's one you've seen before. Okay, this is the first page, and we can see, you know, age information, other demographic, social graphic information. We've used the example of age before. So, you know, what I want to do is show you some other data that you can find on these websites. Now, they do get the information, by the way. Information on the planning websites, guys, typically comes from uscensus.gov. Also, your housing data, your local housing data. You can gather that data using a number of different sources. Some of these sources right here, for example, we can see like population of households in group quarters by type, number of households, people over 18, people under 18, number of vacant houses, things like that. Lots of good information. And I'm going to get a little plug here for Shannon Goldsmith, who recently went through the exercise of gathering data for a couple of areas around her. I'm not going to mention them by name, but she used RPR because RPR is a pretty awesome tool. RPR is a tool inside of NAR, and most of you are agents. If you're not an agent, if you're an investor, make sure you connect with your investor agent so that they can help you gather data using RPR. Great tool. So she was able to determine using, again, demographics, social graphics, where the best areas were for buying rentals. Okay, pretty neat stuff. So in any case, one of the things I like to use is information like this. I want to see the percentage of owners and the percentage of renters. Okay, so in this neighborhood, I can see like this block right here. Look at this. This is occupied housing units. Occupied is all units, residential, owner occupied or tenant occupied. As long as they're occupied, they're part of this figure. We can see the owner occupied units in this neighborhood account for 48.5% of the units. The renter occupied housing units account for 51.5% of the units, okay? And it also gives you the numbers of units, okay, and the average household size. So we can see, for example, in the renter occupied units, which is almost half, they have an average household size of 1.6 people. That means chances are less that they'll have children. It could be single parents with one child, for example. But clearly the owner occupied units are more likely to have larger families with more children. So in any case, back to what I was saying before, when it comes to where you want to do your business, if you're looking at properties to manage near shopping, transportation, things like that, you're generally going to get more of the smaller units, 1 or 2 bedroom units with fewer people per unit. Okay, in this case, it's less than 2 people on average per unit. The other reason this is important is this. Let's say you're in an area where the largest segment of the population is between 18 and 22, okay, or 18 and 21. Let's go back up. I think that figure's in here, by the way. Okay. Now, what that might mean is, like, check this out. Age group, percentage of age group, 84%, total 18 plus. Okay, that's, well, at least it looks down like 21 plus is 80%, over 62 is 23%. It doesn't give us the range of 18 to 20. Over here, it does. So look, between 15 and 19 and 20 and 24, we get the actual dollar amount or actual number of people in those age groups. Here's what I'm getting at. You might not want to manage rentals in an area that's predominantly college-age people because it can be quite a task managing units lived in by undergraduate students. When I do student housing, I generally focus on graduate level and also wherever I can be around medical hospitals that are teaching hospitals. In other words, the hospital is associated directly with a university. And what that means is I generally will get more of the interns, the residents, nurses, things like that. Really good groups of people to rent to. On the other hand, if I see that the largest segment of the population is not, say, 22 to 26, but 18 to 22, then I know there's probably more undergraduate students, and I might steer away from that. So that's just an example of how we use this. What I want to show you is all the data. By the way, real quick, guys, just as a side note, the other thing I like about these percentages is it shows me where I want to own my own properties, okay? Here's what I mean by that. I found out there definitely is a sweet spot when it comes to owning rentals. At least this is from my own personal experience, and here's what it is. When I'm buying rentals, I want to be in an area that's between 1/3 and 2/3 renter-occupied properties. Okay, between 1/3 and 2/3. Let's say there's thirds here. The reason is if it's below 1/3 tenant occupied, less than 1/3 tenant occupied, this neighborhood, what does that mean by contrast? Well, it means it's greater than 2/3 owner occupied. What I know is this: is if an area is greater than 2/3 owner occupancy, it generally is going to be a better area for owning properties or flipping them. Okay. Strong home ownership usually means higher prices and generally better flipping neighborhoods. Now let's go to the other end of the spectrum. Let's say an area is greater than 2/3 rentership, like 80% rentership. What might that mean in terms of like social graphics? Well, it might mean that the area is maybe not such the best area because there's too high of a concentration of renters. Now again, there's always exception, guys. College town, university town, obviously it's expected to be a high percentage of renters. And, I would still go to those areas if I can get the graduate students and that kind of thing. However, just take any old neighborhood. Let's say you go into an urban area, maybe next to a retail area or industrial area, and it's a residential area, and it's 80% rentership, but no college around, no hospital. Well, that could be not such a good area. In other words, you generally do not want to buy rentals around an industrial area. Generally don't want to do that. So if you know that over 80% means it might not be the best area to own rentals in, it might also then be the best area for you to manage those properties in, okay? In fact, we had this conversation the other day with Shannon and I. We talked about some of these areas, and I would be, my personal suggestion is don't operate in an area that you're not comfortable with, okay? So in any case, obviously there's exceptions to those rules, but what I'm getting at, between 1/3 and 2/3 tends to be a sweet spot. And when you're looking to manage properties and you want to start doing marketing to acquire properties in those areas, you can look at these percentages and see what areas have those percentages. Because this area right here clearly is a pretty good rental area. I mean, I'd go in there all day long, half rentals, half owner occupied. In fact, I know the area. And I would definitely buy rentals there, okay? Okay, so let's move on. Let me just check for questions here real quick, guys. Because I just gave you a little bit of a handful there. Okay, everybody's okay so far. Yeah, if you have questions, please post them and let me know. I just want to show you more data about the area. Okay, so if you scroll down, again, this is all the same sample planning commission. You can see the percentage of people there with disabilities. Now, why is this important? Well, here's why this is important. Check this out. I discovered years ago that there were sometimes in some areas a shortage of properties that were handicap accessible, properties that were, ADA compliant, in other words. And I literally stumbled across this accidentally. What happened is I was contacted by a prospective tenant. He responded to one of my ads for a rental property, and it was an area he really wanted to be in, exact neighborhood, the whole 9 yards. And he asked if it was ADA compliant. I said, no, I do not believe it is. It's not equipped for handicap. It doesn't have grab bars or handrails or ramps or raised counters or any of that kind of stuff. And he said, no worries. Would you be willing to modify the unit at no cost to you to be ADA compliant? In other words, i.e., handicap accessible. And I thought, I might actually want to do that. So I looked into it. Guess what I found out? At that time, there were programs out there, still out there today, where people who are disabled and receiving some type of subsidy, particularly a rental subsidy in this case, in certain cases, those units were receiving up to 3 times the prevailing rental rates. So you better believe I said yes. Here's the other good part. Not only did it not cost me a dime, I didn't have to do anything. I mean, literally, I signed a piece of paper, and they brought in the contractor. They did all the work. They did, a lot of work. I mean, it wasn't just like a ramp and a grab bar. I mean, they did some pretty significant improvements. And the other thing is when that tenant eventually moves out, part of the agreement is that they will restore the unit back to its original condition, again, at no cost to me. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty sure if you're getting 3 times prevailing rental rates, you're going to want to keep that unit ADA compliant because even if that person does move out, you can now advertise ADA compliant unit, okay? So in any case, just a perfect example of how we use this information. So let's see, let me see if there's anything else I want to show you. Households with selected type of income, so you get income by household. Check that out, pretty amazing stuff here, okay? What that means is if you understand your demographics and social graphics, and you're renting units in an area that has a high income area, they're not going to be renting C- properties. You're going to have to buy B-, B+ properties to be able to satisfy that clientele. And real quick, we have a question came in from Cedric. Hey, Cedric, rental 1/3 or more. Yeah, so Cedric, it's really between 1/3 and 2/3 rentership. That's the sweet spot. Again, if it's greater than 2/3, it's probably stronger home ownership area, better for flipping, things like that. And if it's less than 1/3, you at least want to do another level of analysis to determine what is what are the demographics of the area, social graphics, shopping, schools, is it near an industrial area, things like that. Those are the questions you want to ask to do some further analysis on the properties. Okay, let's see here. Anything else that looks good? Yeah, you get to see, sorry, family makeup. Okay. Um, male household, female household, married couples, people under 18, people over 18. Let's see here, another example of, let's see, household by household income in the past 12 months. All kinds of information, guys, just an abundance and abundance of information. You get to see, by the way, oops, hang on a second. Let me just go real quick up here. This will just take a second, guys. Hang on 1 second. Why isn't this letting me move this? Hang on. Just give me a second, guys. I want to show you something here. It's pretty neat. Whoops. Okay, let me just do it this way. That actually did it perfectly. All right, it gives you the age of the properties when these properties were built in the area. You get to see the types of units: 1 unit detached, 1 unit attached, duplexes, 3 to 4 units, 5 to 9 units. It's all in there. You can see by area the makeup of the housing units by type. Numbers of units per building, for example. You can also see the average age they were built. The largest chunk of properties in this area were built in the 1960s, for example, almost 18%, followed by the 50s before that. Okay, you can see when occupied housing units by year, householder moved in 2010 or later. So most people in this area moved in between 2000 2009. Pretty interesting statistic. Okay, but this is the kind of stuff you can get. You also can see, I think we talked about income. You can see the type of heating that's going on there. I mean, this is the kind of stuff you need to help you and your investors, and more importantly, if you're going to be managing properties. The numbers of vehicles per household, households with mortgages, things like that. In any case, I think you get the picture here. So what I want to do now is switch gears, okay, and talk about marketing. Actually, real quick, I got a question from Victoria. Hi, Victoria. Victoria's asking, do all cities have this information? The answer is absolutely yes. But the other thing too is, Victoria, is how easy is it to get to? Some areas are easier, some areas are not so easy. What I would do is I would follow the lead of Shannon and use tools available to you, like citydata.com, Wikipedia, and more importantly, back to RPR. RPR will allow you to generate lots of good reporting. They have a very good tutorial section to show you how to actually use RPR. Okay. So the bottom line is, Victoria, they all have to have it because they're trying to determine where they're going to build the next school, park, bridge, road, things like that. Okay. That's what we care about, that information, but we really care more about the data that they show us. They're using the data for other purposes. We're using it for us and our investors. Okay. But the point is, it absolutely does exist. Okay. They have to have it because every municipality, every county has a planning commission. So they determine, matter of fact, one of the things they're doing is this. Let's say they're going for grant money. I've seen this happen in a lot of inner cities. They'll try to get grant money for rehab and gentrification. In fact, there's a big push right now called the Opportunity Zone. And some of my mastermind members, Go Abundance level members, are really making a go at it with opportunity zones because they'll get grant money. I mean, literally, the government will give them 10 million bucks, for example, to redo all the sidewalks and street lamps and put in some shrubbery and some things like that to really improve the area. And then the investors move in and we go in and take advantage of the other opportunities in that opportunity zone. So back to your question, Victoria, sorry to ramble, but the answer is absolutely yes. The question is how easy to get to. And I wish I could tell you they're all alike, but no two look alike, okay? Okay, this is from Shannon. Hi, Shannon. So Shannon's asking, whoops, let me go back here in 1 second. When doing financial analysis on rental property, you recommend using $50 per month per unit for repairs and maintenance. but said that older properties will cost more. What figure would you recommend for use, repairs, maintenance when doing analysis on older properties? Great question, Shannon. So really, it's more of a percentage thing. The reason I put in an average of $50 per month is that's just what my average was for minor maintenance and repairs, guys. You know, changing doorknobs, fixing broken windows, you know, replacing outlets and things like that. We also have another category, and you can probably write this down. It's basically a capital reserve account. You're basically putting money aside for any future capital improvements. Capital improvements, guys, are big ticket items like roofing, putting on a new roof, putting on new siding, things like that. A new furnace, a new kitchen, those are big capital improvements. So what you can do is, knowing that if you own properties long enough, you're going to have some capital improvements. Why not plan for it and build it into your budget? So when you do the pro forma on a property, you don't just put in $50 per month for minor maintenance and repairs. You might put in another $50 a month for capital improvements later on. It's called a capital expenditures account. And believe it or not, that allows you to also do some really neat things with your taxes. Like when you take the expense, you take the expense that year. Do you roll it into the cost basis of the property and depreciate it? Well, the cool thing is having a capital expenditure account. You can kind of play those rules to your advantage. So back to Shannon, back to your question. The really older properties, guys, properties that are, you know, built prior to World War II, that means they're now getting to past the 80-year mark. Anything 80 years, 100 years old, those 100-year-old properties, guys, it's not unusual to have a 40% maintenance and repair expenditure rate. Like your expenses on that property are going to be 40% of your gross receipts. That's what I mean. So the older the property, the higher the expense ratio. Any building that's like practically new, heck, maybe 10% maintenance and repairs, okay? So the thing is, Shane, it's a very relative thing. I would tell you, when you get to 180-year-old properties, you should definitely plug in a 40% ratio for like just maintenance and repairs and upkeep and things like that. And anything that's say like within the last, 20 years, within 20, 25 years, easily 10%, very small expense ratio. When you get into properties are going back to the 50-year mark, like around the time the lead paint laws kicked in, you might up to maybe 20%. Anything that's going to be about 60 years old, like built in the 60s, maybe 30% expense ratio. Those are probably some good figures to live by. But two things are for certain. You can easily spend $50 a month per unit just on regular routine maintenance. I mean, that includes stuff in the hallways, common areas outside the property, just stuff like that. And on the other end of the spectrum, the older properties like 100 years old, I would definitely count on 40%, guys. That's been my experience over a lot of years and a lot of properties, okay? So in any case, good question. Thanks for the question. Okay, let's see. Let's do this, guys. I want to switch gears if you don't mind. And we're right on the 4:30 mark here, California time. I want to talk about some marketing, okay? I'm going to read, this is right from the Turning Rental Problems and Real Estate Profits training program. When it comes to marketing and advertising really is two different things. Marketing is the studying of the market, so you know what's happening. Advertising is advertising using specific language patterns based on what you determine in your marketing. But regardless, let's just get to the point here. In my property management business, it grew pretty rapidly. In fact, it grew in 3 years to like 700 units, okay? Pretty big business. There's people, believe me, I did a merger years ago, and I know companies that have, we consider them small scale. They got 2,000 units, 10,000 units. The big national companies literally have, 400,000 or 500,000 units under management. Okay, big, huge operations. I'm just talking about locally here, right now, with right where you are and what you know and who you know. So in any case, a lot of my success came as a result of word of mouth. And one of the things I learned to do is this: if for those of you who are entertaining the idea of doing property management, and you have your own units. What I did was I managed my own units under my own company, and I paid just like everybody else. The reason is I wanted to be set up as a client, so I would get the reporting, had the same access, everything that all my clients had. That way I could keep my finger on the pulse of the business. I could kind of feel what was happening and where I sensed the areas for improvement. Well, it turns out that's probably one of the most genius marketing things you can do, because as the clients discovered that I was paying the company a management fee to manage my own properties, and I would call in minutes repairs just like they did to consumers. They really liked that, and that got me a lot of referral business. People would say, "Hey, you know what? Gary believes in his business so much he actually runs his own property through his own company and pays just like we do." They thought that was the coolest thing since sliced bread, I guess, because I hardly spent any money on marketing and advertising, right? So word of mouth all comes from your reputation. Be a good landlord, be a good property management, and I promise you'll have no problem picking up other property management contracts. But more importantly, when it comes to the rental, like advertising the rentals to rent, like a vacancy, which is what we're going to go into here next, you'll find yourself having a lot more success, okay? Because if you got a great reputation, that's like your brand. When people are familiar with your brand and recognize it as a good brand, then your advertising is going to be way more powerful, okay? So in any case, the main thing is this when it comes to this, and you might want to write this down. I know it's, if you're in the rental management program, you get this in automatically. But here's the thing: market plus the message plus the media equals success. Okay, you want to use the right media with the right message in the right market. Okay. In any case, so here's a good definition: marketing is answering who your prospective tenant is. If you're advertising, remember we're talking about filling vacancies now. Okay, where are they, and do they want to be where you are? Does that make sense? So marketing in this case, when it comes to managing rentals and attracting good tenants, is answering who the prospective tenant is, where are they, and do they want to be where you are? The messaging is the actual verbiage, language, or image you're conveying to them. Okay, and I would tell you as time goes on, you know, pics, videos are way better than the old stuff. Okay. In fact, most people expect it now. Okay, and I'll talk about that in a minute, how we actually use video. And the media is actually how you actually communicate with what channel you're using to communicate with the prospective tenants. I'll go over some of those now. So first things first, tenant referral program. Just like with your owners, if you've got great tenants, well, you should leverage that relationship. In fact, we do all kinds of new stuff. I mean, we send out Christmas cards. I receive Christmas cards. I receive Kwanzaa cards, Happy Hanukkah cards. I'm glad to get them. I mean, I don't practice all those religions, but I recognize them and honor them and respect them, and have a high, great tolerance for other religions. I've actually studied a lot of religions. But the point is this: I would send out Christmas cards because that's what I practice, and people will reciprocate based on how they practice. Great way to do business. Okay. In any case, with those great tenants, I would offer incentives for them to refer to me other prospective tenants who are like them. So think about it. If you got a great tenant, chances are they're hanging around other good people. Remember, you're the product of the 5 people closest to you. Okay. So if they're going to refer somebody to me, generally it's going to be a pretty good referral. You still do the screening, the interviewing, all that kind of stuff. But referral business is big. You have to be careful how you gift and reward people. We would often make arrangements with local restaurants to have a buy one dinner, get one free, or $50 gift certificate for a party of 4 or more, free desserts, one free round of drinks, stuff like that. The point is, you want to reward the referrer and reward the action, by the way. So don't reward them only if they're referring, the person they're referring actually rents one of your units. Refer the action. They give you a referral. It's up to you whether or not you do a good job of converting that referral. But the fact is, they took the initiative, so reward them for every referral they give you, whether it converts to a new tenant or not. Okay. Again, you can do gift cards and things like that. Most cases, you got to keep them to 25 or $50, and people are generally not going to report that kind of stuff. But believe it or not, there are rules and regulations regarding providing incentives for referral programs. You just got to understand what they are in your state. But in most cases, up to $50, nobody cares. Okay. So tenant referral program, number one way to get new, good prospective tenants. Okay. All right. Another good campaign media would be, again, if you're around colleges, universities, whether you rent to undergraduates or graduates, they often have a bulletin board. Sometimes it's an old physical bulletin board, like in the student union. Sometimes it's online. Sometimes it's both. But the point is, you can call the colleges and universities around you and ask them for the process for promoting your rental to their students. And they generally have, again, either an online bulletin board or a physical bulletin board that you post things to, physically post it. So what we do is this. You can promote your properties. I'd say do it electronically first, okay? You still have to screen these folks. Remember, they're people in their 18s and 20s for the undergraduates, and even 20s for the upperclassmen or graduates. But the point is use their bulletin boards. It's a great closed network, so to speak. Sometimes there's a process they give you. You got to log in, get a login and password, and put your properties out there. And I love it because guess what? It's also almost always free. Okay, when you go to colleges, universities. Okay, so that's one example of a non-traditional way you can market. Another technique, believe it or not, is Craigslist still works really, really well. We still use Craigslist today, guys. In fact, in the Airbnb business, this Craigslist still gets used a lot. The Canadian version is Kijiji. So Kijiji in Canada, Craigslist in US. But what you want to do is load the property up. Load the ad up with lots of good pictures of the property. It's the same old saying, I know it, but believe me, pictures tell 1,000 words. And boy, you show some good pictures and make that thing shine. And you can put it on YouTube, you can put it on Facebook, you can put it on your Craigslist ad. The point is you can repurpose your photos in multiple ways. Okay, pictures convey a good image, and it basically pictures worth 1,000 words, right? So in any case, Craigslist, easy guys. It's very rudimentary. It's old technology, but boy, people still use it, and it still works. Okay. In any case, I'm going to give you an example of a rental ad. All right. This is can't remember whose property this is. It's one of our students. Why is this locking up on me like this? Hang on one second. There we go. Okay, now, how many of you like to have a property like this? Okay, this is one of my old students. Good looking property, multi-floor. Can't remember how many units this thing had. I think it was like 16 units or something like that. So in any case, you can see they got a great picture there. They give a great description down here. Let me just try to do this scrolling one line at a time. Oops. There we go. Nope, it's supposed to do page at a time. I'm going to slide the panel over here, guys, and see if I can make this thing go more slowly. Okay, that's not even better. All right, so let me go back to where I was. Whoops. This thing's got a mind of its own today. I know I'm getting close. Whoops. Okay, in any case, here's what I'm getting at. In your ads, okay, you want to use good pictures. Show pictures of the outside, show pictures of the inside, as many pictures as you possibly can, because that's what's going to get people sold on your rental. Okay, the description, all right, should be actually, let me go back up. The description should be benefits, not so much features. Okay, you want to give them initially the basic features: 3 bedrooms, 2 bathroom, whatever the case is. Okay, square footage, what floor it's on, things like that. Just give them the raw basics. Spend most of your time and energy and money focusing on the benefits. In other words, use key phrases like imagine walking out your front door or going down to the corner to hit your favorite local restaurant, okay? Or to go to the corner market to get the quick groceries you need to get so you don't have to hop in a car and go burn gas. You want to talk about benefits, not so much features. Okay, we're getting back to the ad now, so we're getting close. Whoop, there we go. So look at that. That looks like a nice, pretty darn nice place, right? I think this was in Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, this was in Minnesota. All right, so back to this. See, the inside looks nice. You know what? People would love to rent this kind of a place. Okay, it looks great. You give them the floor plan. Another thing you could do, if you can give them the floor plan, that's a great idea. All right, but see here, these amenities are called features, but the reality is it's the benefits that really make the difference. So right up here, you tell them the price per unit, 2-bedroom, 1.5 bath, walk-in closet, large yard. That actually could be done better, but it is what it is. Down here, they give you the features, right? List everything out. It also gives you some other things. If you notice here, there's a lot of detail here. And I will tell you guys, follow the model. I learned that if I put more details in the ad, like this financial criteria stuff, it would be like a screening function. It would screen out the people who trying to get in, no money, no application fee, all that stuff. No security deposit. That's not the kind of places you want to rent or people you want to rent to. So in any case, you put all that stuff in there because it's a screening mechanism. Okay. Here's back to the pictures, floor plan. Can also provide a QR code. Okay, that goes back a couple years. So in any case, let's go into some other media channels to advertise here. All right, social media. So remember I talked about pictures and video. One of the things you should do when you have a vacancy is this. Please write this down. Is to go through and record yourself going through the rental unit just like a prospective tenant would. You walk in the front door and you go to the rooms in the order that you would normally check those rooms in. In other words, you go from the living room, typically right to the kitchen. And then from there, you might go to the main bedroom, okay? Then you might go and see if there's any decks or patios. How about the parking? But go through the unit and record it. Just use your phone if you want to. It's pretty easy. And while you're going through the unit, you can talk about the features and benefits, okay? Now, what you can do is this. With that video, you can load it to YouTube. You can load it to Facebook, okay? And you can also, in some other media, put a link to that video in the ad in the other media, okay? The point is this, is social media is a great way to advertise rentals, especially locally. I wouldn't necessarily use LinkedIn. I don't think that would work very well. We've had people use Twitter to advertise rentals, but the main ones are Facebook and Craigslist and YouTube. You can load this thing up to YouTube and have your own channel for your rental business. Okay. All right. So back to this. Church bulletins. Easy, very inexpensive. And what you can do is every Sunday, let's say you've got a big portfolio. Every Sunday, just advertise, keep a running ad. It's going to be cheaper if you get a year-long pass on putting bulletins in there. If you just do a onesie, it's going to be a higher price for that onesie. So what I'm getting at is this: if you think you'll have a regular stream of vacancies, go ahead and get in them with the church to get like an annual account, so you can be in every single church bulletin every single Sunday. Okay. In any case, always check with the church, the administrative staff first, and see what they'll allow. Okay. Another possibility is this: your local grocery store. Okay, if you think about it, people looking to buy homes, a lot of cases are moving outside the neighborhood they're in right now, even if it's not far, but they're going to be changing grocery stores. Tenants also want to know, like, where's the nearest grocery store? So what you do is this: you take advantage of the situation and use their bulletin board. A lot of grocery stores still have, when you walk in, a board that you can post local notices, services like dog walking, things like that. In this case, you could post an ad for a rental property app. Doesn't cost anything either, by the way. So look for the church bulletin boards. Some of them have gotten away from that. But the reality is they're still out there. Okay, so let's do this. Grocery store, restaurants, one of my all-time favorites. Okay, so here's what I do here, especially for a new restaurant. Let's say a new restaurant moves into the area where I've got a number of units or a complex, a building, a rental complex. What I'll do is I'll approach the restaurateur. Let's say, hey, great, congratulations, thanks for launching this here. I think you're going to do great. I know in the beginning it's tough. You got to bring in a lot of new clients, and I think I can help you with that. I own or I manage or own and manage several hundred units in the area. Would you be interested in some advertising where we can work together? And what I do is I drive the new tenants. I get new tenants all the time. I will drive them to your new restaurant. And that way you can get some steady business there, because if they come once and they like it, they'll come again. I mean, it's right down the road from where they're renting, okay? So what I do is this. I do a joint marketing venture, and we create, a simple flyer, not like the glossy bifold thing, but literally, 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, right? That has the like it basically says coupon, buy one dinner, get one free, and you fold it in half or fold it in thirds, or free dessert for you welcome to, congratulations, welcome to Fremont apartment complex. As a welcoming gift, we offer you a buy one dinner, get one free, and please bring this with you to the restaurant. So what happens is the owner of the restaurant may cough up a free meal, but chances are they've got, for a very small cost, some repeat clients, okay? What it does for me is I can use these coupons, okay, these bifold things, and use it as an incentive for me to bring in more good qualified tenants. So I will go to the tenant base I've already got, and I always make this a public thing. I tell them that every month I reward tenants for paying on time, keeping the property clean, things like that. Well, this is one of the ways I do it. And what I'll put in there is I'll say, look, hey, have a free dinner on me. By the way, bring a friend with you. It's basically buy one, get one free. And if they have any interest at all in being a realtor or being an investor, I would like the first opportunity to speak with them, okay? But what I'm getting at is you can leverage the goodwill from the restaurants to help you not only attract good tenants through referral, but also attract other business that you can be involved in, okay? Guys, let's do this. Let me just check for questions here before I continue. So hang on one second. Let's see. This is Joe Rob. Yep. Jeff Johnson. Sell the sizzle, not the steak. Yeah. Amen, brother. So that's the cool thing about advertising is you're really giving them the benefits, which is the sizzle. Okay. You give them the sizzle, they'll want the steak. So that's the old saying in business is, give them the sizzle, not the steak. Okay. Thanks, Jeff, for sharing that, by the way. Okay, so back to this restaurants. Let's see what's next. Whoops. We'll talk about local publications here in a second. I think that might have been what's next. Just want to double check here. Yes. So let me go back down here to local publications. All right, very important, guys. What I do not recommend is using your big city papers to advertise rentals. They might give you a teaser rate because they want your business, but printed newspapers, guys, have lost a lot of circulation in the last since, of course, the internet, right? They're still out there, but quite frankly, we stopped putting ads in the big local publications way back in the late 90s. However, we do use local publications. The most famous are Penny Saver and Green Sheet. Every one of you has probably seen a Green Sheet, it's typically county level, or you've seen a Penny Saver, which is often town or neighborhood level. But what I'm getting at is this: they generally are much less expensive printed venues to advertise in. They'll still give you a lot of flexibility. You can highlight things, you can bold things like that. But the point is they're a lot less expensive. You can customize the ad. You can do a recurring run on the ad. So if you have a number of units like I did, and you've always got 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom units coming up for rent, you can just run a constant ad, right? 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom unit for rent in whatever area. Okay, you can change up the area every week. You can put in multiple posts in the local paper, but I wouldn't generally one post per type of unit is going to be easily or be the desirable way. So you might have one ad for 1 bedrooms, one ad for 2 bedrooms, one ad for 3 bedrooms, and if the 3 bedrooms don't come up all the time, then you don't want to do a recurring ad. But if the 1s and 2s do, you should always have an ad out there, guys. Okay. Penny Saver Green Sheet. Local publications, you'll see people advertising their horse for sale, their car for sale, their boat for sale, even their house for sale. More importantly, you will see all the landlords who are advertising their rental properties for rent using Penny Saver and Green Sheet. Okay. All right. So back to this. Again, this description needs to be short and sweet. Whenever you can use the word like free, like I did here, free utilities, the word free gets a lot of people's attention, so you use that as much as you can. The word guarantee gets a lot of people's attention. Use that as much as you can. Free is going to get you more bang for your buck, quite frankly. That's what we measured. Let's see here. Local publications. As far as formatting goes, if you can get a publication to advertise in, they will draw a box around your ad. It's been proven that ads that have a box around the ad generally have a higher pull, a higher response rate. Okay. All right. So that's your big publications there. Oops. What was a? Let's see. Homework. There's one more I wanted to show you. We talked about Craigslist, local publications. I think I gave you the big ones. Yeah, those are the. So let's just stop there. Look at that. Exactly. It's 4:52. Remember, I said it'd be about 50 minutes. You're probably gathering I've done this one before, and I think I have. It's been probably a year or two since we've done this. So, guys, that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to cut this off tonight. What I'll do is we'll continue property management on another segment of this webinar. It might be next week. I just want to see when we can get the social media person in here to demonstrate how you can use, like, do a video on your phone using a Zoom account, upload it to YouTube, also have it stream live on Facebook Live, for example, strip off the audio to make that a blog, for example, and then in any case, you can multi-purpose that process, help your clients get more exposure for their properties. Also helps you save time, energy, and money, because a lot of people are using online now in video, and they're responding to video, okay, in a big way. So let's do this, guys. I'm going to try to wrap things up. Let me just check one more time for questions. Who is your guest next week? So Jeff, I don't think we have one next week. Next week, I think, is a regular webinar. It's in June. I'll tell you who it is. Let me just look in June real quick. So June 3rd. I don't think it's the 3rd. Nope. So let me check the. I think it's the 11th actually. Yeah. His name's Albert Trasty, I think, or Trast. He's from Southern California, and we have a special guest, another guy named Richard is going to be on with him. We're going to talk to you about how you can use trust, and you want to definitely be on that because it's something you can use as a selling feature to get more clients for yourself. You can say, look, there's another way you can acquire properties relatively risk-free, which shields you from liability, and here's how you do it. And you make an introduction, show them a video, then they talk to these guys, and you get maybe a referral fee or something, and a happy client. So that's the 11th of June, okay? All right, guys, well, listen, I hope you had an awesome session. Hope you're having an awesome week, and we'll have a wonderful weekend. God bless you and your families, all right? And let me just check one more time here for any more last-minute questions. That's it. So God bless you and your families. We will see you next week. In the meantime, have an awesome rest of the week and even a better weekend. All right, take care, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.